right. Hopefully y'all enjoyed those lovely instrumentals this evening. No, let me stop. So welcome everyone that's in the call live right now, joining us live, and welcome everyone that will be joining afterwards, watching on our YouTube page. So today is going to be another dope session again. Just being in the city of Columbus and having the knowledge that there are great institutions just in your own backyard. How can you pass those moments and opportunities up? So, again, I just want to thank everyone. I'm going to pass the baton to our phenomenal liaison who has just been connecting us with institution after institution after institution that's just been giving us a lot of free game, a lot of free knowledge. So Dr. Kirsten Fox, again, thank you for joining us, and the floor is yours.
Great. Well, thank you, Chris. And thank you, everybody, for joining us either in real time or on YouTube after the fact. I am really excited to introduce you to today's speaker. So you probably remember a few weeks ago, or if you weren't able to join us, you can find it on YouTube. We were able to have two representatives from the Ohio State University talk to us about the application process to Ohio State, including our regional campuses throughout the state of Ohio. So we wanted to actually focus a little bit more on one of those regional campuses today. And so I'm excited to present to you Caress Gilcrease from OSU Newark, who is a student success coordinator, academic success coordinator at OSU Newark. And she's gonna talk about student success and academic success kind of in general. This is an office that exists in some form or another across college campuses, right? So we've spent some time talking about getting to college, but then this next step is really to focus on, okay, once you're in college, what are some different offices and different ways to make sure that you are supported? And so just like you have continued to have AMP coaches with Lead the Way, this provides you an inside view of the support on college campuses. So without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Caress just to give you, she'll probably tell you a little bit more about herself, but she is a Columbus City School graduate and then went to Denison University, which is how I first was connected to her, and is now up the road at OSU Newark, and just really glad to have her here today. So Caress, I will turn it over to you at this point.
Thank you, Dr. Fox. I appreciate the warm welcome. I'm really excited to talk to you all today. So we're going to be talking a little bit about how to navigate college and how to connect to resources and how to develop a sense of belonging. So as Dr. Fox said, I do work for the Ohio State University at Newark, and I am in the Office of Retention and Student Success Initiatives, and I'm an academic success coordinator / coach for that office. And so I'm going to talk to you a little bit about that work that I do, as well as some other offices that you can connect to in general on college campuses. But then I'm also going to tell you some of the work that we're doing specifically on our campus and what that looks like as well. And so I am going to first give you a little rundown about myself. So I actually am from the south side of Columbus. I don't know if any of you are familiar with Southfield, but I'm from the south side of Columbus in Southfield, and I actually went to Columbus City Schools for a majority of my life, as Dr. Fox mentioned. I went to Arts Impact Middle School, Columbus Alternative High School, and I also did Career Center at Fort Hayes, as well as I chaired and ran track for Marion Franklin. And during my time at Columbus City Schools, I actually got an opportunity to be a part of the I Know I Can program. And just in talking with Dr. Fox in preparation for this, I know that Lead the Way does have some similarities to I Know I Can as well, in the fact that it is, a nonprofit who really tries to equip students with what they need in order to be successful as far as career. And I Know I Can also focuses on college readiness as well. And so connecting with my I Know I Can advisor, being that I was a first generation college student and a woman of color, was something that was really important to me. I hadn't really had a lot of experience working with people of his caliber and understanding kind of where I wanted to go in my life. And I wasn't really sure how I wanted to reach my goals of going to college and actually getting a degree and working in my field. And due to my I Know I Can advisor, I was able to get those pieces that really helped me to be successful. I Know I Can also provided me with a grant for school that I used every year, which was really beneficial to me. And they also helped me apply for colleges. And different opportunities were afforded me for being a part of that program. And so after I graduated high school, I actually got a chance to go to Kent State University, which is where I received my bachelor's degree. And as we'll talk about today, at Kent State, that experience really changed my world. Because in college, you get a chance to connect with so many different things that really allow you and shape you into the person that you're going to be. And so at Kent State, I was able to work within a mentoring group for young women called Recycled Knowledge. That was for women of color. I also got to have my own radio show and television show, which were things that I was really interested in, to talk about diversity, equity, and inclusion, and also talk about politics and things that were important to me, right? And for the first time when I was at Kent State, connecting to those communities and those things, it opened my mind up so much, and I was able to really achieve my goals because I was so engaged in the Kent State community. And I think that that's something that's really important as you go into college and you think about what you want to get out of it, right? Is to really take advantage of that engagement, to take advantage of every opportunity that you're going to have in that area or in that arena of being on a college campus. And there are so many opportunities, especially connecting with staff and faculty. I actually did a research project with the chair of my department, and the chair of a department is basically like the head of that academic department. So let's say that if you're going to school for psychology, it would be the head of the psychology department. And for me personally, working with the chair of my department really allowed me to do a lot of amazing things. And it really gave me a lot of skills that I now use in my job currently. And so after Kent State, I actually went back to I Know I Can to give back to the community that had given a lot to me. And I worked there and served there. And that was one thing that I really appreciated, was my time there. And working with students who are first generation students, which basically just means that neither one of their parents has received a bachelor's degree. And so I am a first generation college student. Actually, my grandfather only has a second grade education. And so for me to go to college was something that was so big for my family. In addition to that, it was really nice to work with low-income students because I was a low-income student, and also to work with other students who are from different underrepresented communities. And so after working at I Know I Can, I actually went on to work as the program coordinator at Denison University in the Office of Multicultural Affairs, and now I am at The Ohio State University. So we're talking about the importance of connecting to resources, right? So why do you think it's important to connect to resources? I'm going to tell you. So as a student, when you actively participate in resources and get involved socially and academically in activities at the university, you're more likely to graduate, right? And in addition to that, also finding communities to engage in as a first-year student makes it more likely that you will not become disengaged from your classwork, from your community on campus. And it also helps to create a sense of belonging. And a sense of belonging really allows you to do well academically, socially, and emotionally while you're on a college campus. And when I say a sense of belonging, all I mean is that it helps you to create a community, a home, a place where you feel safe. For many of you, you may be going away to college, and for others, you may be staying home. For those of you who are going away to college, it's important to create that safe space or that little home for yourself. For those of you who may be staying home for college, it's important to find those communities so that you can connect to your campus and can feel a part of that community on campus. Also, in addition to that, I'm going to talk a little bit about our learning communities today and learning communities in general across multiple campuses. But learning communities are a really positive way to get you engaged in your education. And it really actually makes you feel more satisfied about the education that you're paying for and you're receiving. All right, so some academic resources that you will find on any college campus, more than likely. The names might be a little bit different, but you should always go in search of these things and always pay attention during orientations because they normally talk about a lot of these pieces and where they can be found, right? So when you're going around and you're walking around for your orientation, or if you're doing a virtual orientation, make sure that you pay attention to what they're telling you, right? Because that is going to be really your saving grace as far as your academic resources when you get to school. And so some of these things may be a tutoring center, also supplemental instruction. I actually in my first year at Kent State took a class called Biological Foundations. And I don't know if it sounds hard to you, but to me, that class, I was so worried about how I was going to do in that class. And actually, the professor said our first day that 33% of us were not going to do well in the course. And sitting there with the other, I don't know, maybe 200 students that were in that class, I was worried. And so I went to supplemental instruction every week for that course. And I got out of that course with a B+, and I was so happy. But supplemental instruction is basically like a way that colleges break down maybe some of the material that your professor may be discussing or covering on a one-on-one basis or in a small group basis where you can ask more questions and get more insight into that. And so that really helps you to succeed and to do well. Also, there may be study groups that are facilitated by the university or study groups that maybe are facilitated by students or student groups that you can join as well. There also should always be a center for student success, right? So somewhere that you can go that you can reach out to them to achieve certain academic success, right? And then also, you'll always have an academic advisor, and this person will help you figure out what classes you need to take in order to finish strong and in order to finish in the timeline that you have created for yourself for school. And then there's an office of retention, which is one of my offices, which we'll talk a little bit more about soon. So academic resources at The Ohio State University at Newark. So you do have a Center for Success at The Ohio State University at Newark. There's also a math learning center, a tutoring center, a writer studio, as well as a learning skills specialist. So our learning skills specialist is amazing. His name is Ferdinand Avila Medina, and he actually helps students to really get connected to the way that they learn. He also helps them with motivation, stopping procrastination, as well as time management. And then there's our office. Our office is the Office of Retention and Student Success Initiatives. And if you'd like to look up any of our academic resources as well as personal resources, you can go to newark.osu.edu/students/support services. But let's talk a little bit about what my office does. So when students come to us with these questions, we can help. So if a student comes and they say, well, I don't know how I can prepare to do well in my classes, or maybe I don't know how to create an academic success plan, I can help a student create a plan for success for their semester. So talking about study skills, and strategies, as well as time management, talking with students about what they do if they fail, right? Because we all fail sometimes. And what do you do if you get a bad grade? Or what do you do if you didn't do as well as what you thought you were going to do that semester? And how do you change that for the next semester? Also, in addition to that, there are resources available on campus for you. And so also connecting you to resources. So kind of like what I'm doing right now, just giving you resources that you can access when you get to college. I'm that same person that is reaching out to students when they get on campus and figuring out what resources do you need? How can I connect you with a resource that can help? In addition to that, we also handle students who are on academic probation. And so academic probation basically means that you did not receive a 2.0 GPA at the end of the semester. And so therefore, you could potentially be dismissed from the university. So what we do for students that are on academic probation is that they go through an entire workshop and we work with them one-on-one to make sure that they really do understand what it means to be on probation and are able to up their grades. That way they are hopefully not on probation by the end of the year. And then in addition to that, there's also things that we do for students who are in financial need or have a financial emergency that is hindering their ability to succeed. So let's say your car breaks down. We actually have an emergency grant that is available for students who maybe can't afford to get their car fixed, right? Or who maybe couldn't pay a utility bill this month because their hours at work got cut, right? So we actually have that available for students too, because you're not gonna do well, right, if you don't have what you need in order to be successful. And so that's also something that we try to give in our personal resources as well. So some personal resources that you might see on any campus is counseling services, a medical center, disability services, health and wellness center, as well as financial assistance programs. All of these things are things that you would find on any college campus as long as you know where to locate them, right? So these are things that when you first get on campus and you know, okay, I know that I need to connect with this office for this, or I know that I need to connect with this office for this. You want to see where your counseling services office is, because as a first year student, you may have a hard time and you may want to connect, or maybe you have a pre-existing condition and you want to connect for that reason. Or you want to know where your medical center is because you want to be able, if you get sick, to know where you need to go, right? Or your disability services or your health and wellness center or any financial assistance programs that are able to help you. And so at Ohio State University at Newark, we have the emergency grant, which I talked a little bit about, the Campus Corner Food Pantry. So for students who are food insecure, which basically just means that you don't have, you may not have the food available to you at the time that you need to be able to curb your hunger. And so with those things, we actually have a place where you can go and pick up food or pick up body wash or hair supplies as well to really help you make it through the semester. And you can come up to 15 times. And then we also, of course, have our office listed here as a personal resource. So student life. So there are a lot of ways that you can connect with student life. So residential life is a way that you can connect with student life. If you plan on living in a dorm, they always do great activities within dorms and things like that to get you connected to the other people that are on your floor. There are also living and learning communities where you can live in a certain community and also get connected to other majors that you may want to live with, because maybe they're focused on the same types of classes that you are. And so you all may be able to help each other in that way. There's also recreational sports that might be under your Office of Student Life or Student Engagement, student organizations and activities, which is a great way to get connected. So if you're interested in something, or you have a certain identity that you really want to express through something, or if you really feel like, okay, I really want to connect to these things, a student organization, a student activity, those are great ways to get connected on campus and to engage on campus, as well as you might find your student conduct office there, career counseling services, health services, financial management, and human resources for students there. And at the Ohio State University at Newark, it's pretty much the same. So you're going to find your campus dining, your career development, your counseling services, your housing, multicultural affairs, your recreational sports, student conduct, and student organizations and things as well in student life. And then also something I did want to just give a little bit of weight to is that Office of Multicultural Affairs as well. I found this really helpful during my journey in college because it really does promote diversity and inclusion, but they also host events that really allow you to learn about other people and their identities, but also help to celebrate your own. And that's something that's really beneficial. It gives you a chance to connect with faculty and staff also that may identify the same way that you do. It talks about religious belief, cultural differences, ethnicities, race, everything that you want to support in your identity, LGBTQ identities, for all different reasons. this is a great office to go to if those are things that you are interested in and you want to be engaged in diversity, equity, and inclusion. And so some things that might happen at the OSU Office of Multicultural Affairs is that we have a great orientation program called Fresh Image that students come in with. We also talk a lot about development of awareness of multiculturalism. It also focuses on really connecting students, staff, and faculty, as well as academic resources, and really helps to serve as a mediator between offices for students as well. And so that's some great things that the Office of Multicultural Affairs is doing, as well as we have a student engagement team, which I'm actually on, where we talk to students about knowing your rights, where we talk to students about race, where we talk to students about ways to get in touch with people who are going to be inclusive of them and their differences, and just different pieces that students need in order to be successful on campus. Also, you may have a first year experience office, or an FYE office, which is basically an office that focuses on your first year experience. So it's an office that really is geared towards you being successful your first year of college. So they want to make sure that your transition from, maybe living at home, or your transition from going from high school into college is smooth. And so they try to do what they can to support you academically, with connecting you to other students, connecting you to maybe an FYE course, as well as really making sure that you're aware of the resources that are available on campus. Also, within all of the different universities that you may attend, you also may be interested in joining a learning community. And so I showed two different ones here, but they're both Global Village learning communities, which is for students that want to connect with international students, or students that want to be globally aware. And so both of these learning communities, from a private school to a large state school, right, have these Global Village learning communities. And we see that learning communities are really beneficial for students and allow them to really connect with one another on a different level. Basically, a learning community is a community of students who identify based on a shared interest or identity or major, and they take classes together as a cohort. They also get a chance to really approach higher education together in a different way. And so they may have social events or gatherings that they attend together. They also get a chance to have experiential learning trips and things like that. So a learning community going into your first year is something also really great to look at. And so we have a few here at Newark that I do want to talk to you about. So at OSU Newark, we have the Buckeye Generation Learning Community, our Scarlet and Gray Excellence Learning Community, our Engineering Learning Community, and the Education, Teaching, and Learning Community, as well as the Global Citizens Learning Community. So I want to show you a little clip of what a learning community is like on our campus. So I'm going to go ahead and optimize for video, and I'm going to show that here.
The Scarlet and Gray Excellence Learning Community is an opportunity for 40 students of color who have been admitted to the university to come in together as a cohort, to take classes together, 4 classes over the course of their first year, to have individualized sessions with staff and faculty and peer mentors in order to become informed about all of the resources that exist on campus so they can be socially and academically successful. So it just gives them a little edge.
As a freshman, it's really hard because you kind of have to figure things out on your own. And this program, what it basically does is give a sense of belonging and community, help provide them with different resources, make them self-aware of differences that we have among us students. And I think it's very important just because I feel like they don't have a place, but this program just kind of helps them feel like they belong somewhere and they have someone there to help them.
The Scarlet and Gray Excellence Learning Community will help students really get acclimated to the university. So coming here and being a part of that community will automatically connect them to peers, staff, and faculty who can ensure their success, and then also students who will be enduring the same types of experiences that they will.
I help first-generation students kind of find resources around campus. We do tutoring, just help them get connected with different resources, helping them out with their classes, teachers, just get them connected and just make them feel like they have support on campus. I'm a student just like you, so you can feel comfortable asking me any questions that you have, just because I probably had those same questions.
I love the learning community because it's very diverse. We have people from different backgrounds. We do a lot of discussions on people's perspectives, viewpoints, cultures, why it is people do what they do. We study together. We always keep in touch. We always help each other out.
I will be teaching the students who are in the SAGE community their first semester. So I'll be teaching Intro to African American and African Studies, and I'll be meeting with them outside of the class as well. So again, giving them that academic support, but also hopefully offering mentorship as they matriculate the university.
Makes you feel like you're a part of something, and it helps you not only academically, but socially also, which a lot of students don't realize that that's also a very important part of college. Take advantage of all the resources and all the support that it has to offer. Do not be shy to ask any questions. Do not be shy to go to anybody who is a part of the program, just because that's what we're here for.
So I know that was talking about our Scarlet and Gray Excellence Learning Community, but those many of our learning communities as well. And so here are a couple things about all of our learning communities. So the Buckeye Generation Learning Community was created in 2012 and is 120 students large, and is for first generation students, just meaning that neither one of their parents have graduated with a 4-year degree. All of our learning communities actually have social and cultural events that you can attend and be a part of. The Buckeye Generation Learning Community actually provides priority consideration for housing, as well as a $600 in academic funding per academic year. So $300 in the fall and $300 in the spring for those 120 first generation students who do decide to join. Our engineering learning community is 40 students large, and it's for engineering majors and pre-majors. And it actually provides priority consideration for housing. And it also has peer coaches, just as our Buckeye Generation Learning Community does as well. So you'll have peer mentorship in your learning community, as well as one-on-one faculty and staff mentorship as well. The Scarlet and Gray Excellence Learning Community, which you just saw the video about, actually is designed to support first-year underrepresented students. In this learning community, you also do receive $600 per year in academic funding, $300 in the fall, $300 in the spring. And in addition to that, you also receive priority consideration for housing, as well as one-on-one support from your peer coaches, and then those unique cultural and social events as well. And then there's also the Global Citizens Learning Community, which is 40 students large, which is for students who are interested in global citizenship or global awareness. And this learning community actually helps students to really connect to the world community and engage with the world community. And you receive $500 in academic funding that can be used for service learning, research, or study abroad. You also receive priority consideration for study abroad. And then this is the Education, Teaching, and Learning Community on the Newark campus. And this is actually for pre-majors in early childhood and middle childhood education. And this learning community really helps to get you connected to faculty mentors within education. And if you would like to see any of our learning communities as well, you can go to go.osu.edu/NewarkLC. So what to remember from this conversation? So I know I talked a lot about ways that you could get engaged on all campuses and ways that you can get engaged on our campus, but the thing that you really need to remember is that you should find and take advantages of resources on your campus. And also pay attention because they're there, right? So when you're going through orientation and when you are going through different aspects of getting acclimated to campus, find those resources that are going to be best able to connect you to student organizations, community activities, and different places that you are going to find a sense of belonging, or your home away from home, and feel connected and safe and included. And so also a good thing to take away from this conversation as well is that you belong on your campus. I think a lot of times as first generation college students, as students of color, as any student that's in an underrepresented community, sometimes you can feel that you don't belong on a college campus. And I think that you reaching for your goals and reaching for what you want to really succeed in, right, is something that's important. And you have to know that no college accepts you if they don't think that you're going to be able to succeed and persist, right? They want to retain you. They want you to do well. You belong on your campus. So if you get that acceptance letter in the mail, know that that should be the first thing that you say to yourself, is that, wow, I got accepted, so I do belong here. Thank you so much for your time. I'm going to go ahead and leave my information here. If you'd like to contact me at any point in time, I have my email listed here, my phone, as well as my office. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for joining us today. I guess I'll open it up. I see we got a few students. So if we got a couple students, if you have, maybe 10 minutes, we can maybe get a couple questions answered. I see we have China and Alan. I know China, she is actually she wants to study to become a veterinarian. And she actually is, I think she's working on a scholarship for I Know I Can, or is waiting to get some results back from a scholarship with I Know I Can. So I know she's been looking at this as a potential option. So maybe China, if you want to chime in and ask some questions, or just follow up with her, you guys have the floor to do so. All right. Well, if there's no question, oh, sorry.
So I did see also, Chris, that you did put in the chat that we have a Fort Hays student on the call as well. Shout out to Fort Hays for those of you who are on the call. If y'all do have any questions for me, please don't be afraid to ask me, y'all. Like, I promise, I know that I just went through that presentation, but I do want y'all to know that if you do have any questions, or anything or ask anything, or even if you don't feel comfortable asking it now, you can email me, you can call me, because it's important to me that you see yourself at these universities. And it doesn't necessarily have to be Ohio State. It's about whatever university fits best for you. But I hope that you know that you belong at an institution if that's where your path is.
That's good. That's good. That's really good. Maybe are you familiar with any potential? I know we have a student on here that wants to be an artist, and I'm wondering if you have any knowledge in regards to programs at OSU Newark for students that are wanting to be artists.
So if you were interested in being an artist, you could start your program at OSU Newark and then transition to the Columbus campus, or you could start at the Columbus campus. So what we do have is we do have a lot of first classes in art. So the first step courses that you would need to take as part of your art classes. We do have those first pieces, but then the next pieces you would need to take at Columbus. So what I like to tell students who are interested in maybe coming to OSU, but are like, well, I would like to go to Columbus, but I would also be okay with going to Newark as well. I think that a big piece of it is financial. Right? So you can take the same classes, your first and second year that you could take on the Columbus campus, and then transition to the Columbus campus and really decrease any debt that you may occur, right, during your time in college. And so I think that that's always something smart to do, is to think about what classes can you take for less money, right? And what can you do to make sure that you get scholarships and grants and put you in a better position to not have to pay back money after you graduate college? And so if you were interested in potentially taking an art major at OSU, you could start that at the Newark campus and then transition to the Columbus campus too.
Awesome. And are you familiar with the, I know some institutions have pathways for college credit plus students, maybe to particularly certifications, is there any opportunities like that at the Newark campus?
Yes, so you can receive College Credit Plus at the Newark campus. And actually, we have a College Credit Plus advisor who's amazing. His name is C.R. Barclay. And he actually works directly with students in regards to College Credit Plus and really helps them to get acclimated to the campus, helps them to know what classes to take to get some of those general education courses out of the way. So once again, that's another way that you can really decrease your debt, right? So when you think about college, obviously you think about the funding for schooling. And so College Credit Plus is a great way to get some of those classes out of the way. That way, when you do get onto a campus, you are already finished with a lot of your general education requirements. I actually have a student now that did College Credit Plus who's in one of my learning communities, and she is finished with like all of her general education requirements. And so she is finishing up this semester, and then she's going straight to Columbus and transitioning to Columbus. So that is something that you can also think about. I also do see a question here from China in regards to dual language or double major programs. So you can double major, and there are a few dual language programs that you could do as well. You would start them again at the Newark campus if you'd like to start at the Newark campus and then go to Columbus, or you can start them at the Columbus campus, either way. However, we do have like your first and second languages that you could take. There's also a certain major that's called Romance languages that encompasses multiple languages within your study of language, if that's something that you're interested in as well, which you can start at Newark and also transition into the Columbus campus with. I actually had a peer coach do that last year.
Great question, China. Great question.
I'm not sure if you mentioned it, Chris, but like, what was your favorite like on-campus resource and why? Like,
so
the student success, like which was your favorite?
So my favorite on-campus resource when I was a student, or the resource that I feel like is most beneficial for students now?
Both, whichever part of the question you want to answer.
I think my favorite resource personally was my multicultural office when I was a student. It was something that I really enjoyed being a part of because it did give me that little home or that little community. That's where I became a part of our sister circle at Kent State. That's where I became a part of Recycled Knowledge, which is a mentoring group for girls. That was a big part of my experience. I also had one of my mentors who worked in that office. And so she was amazing. And she actually helped me to volunteer for that office and to get some things on my resume as well. And she actually works in higher education now also. And so I think that was probably the most beneficial, was really connecting with my multicultural office. For me, that was something that really, really helped me. And then in addition to that, I would say that the most beneficial resource for students, I think really it depends on the student, honestly, as far as what's going to best support you, right? So when it comes to what you need, every person is different, right? So you may need student activities, you may need a student organization to help you. I also found a lot of support through the College of Journalism, which is where I did my radio show and television show. So there are so many different aspects in which you can find support and find your home. But I think that the best advice I can give to a student is to explore and to figure out what's on your campus. That way you can get involved. I think so many times students say, oh, well, there's nothing here for me, or I don't know what I want to do. So like, I'm not sure what I'm going to like, or if they'll actually include me in that Black United Students group, or that Black Student Union, or whatever it may be that you want to get involved in. And so don't be afraid to go out for things and to try things and to go to meetings and just figure out what's it about, right? And also to connect to different resources and give yourself a chance to actually get to dislike something before you say, oh, I don't think I'm going to like that. You know, I think it's all about trying new things. I hope that answered your question.
That was a good question, Clark. We got some good content out of that one. That was good.
Very good question.
And thank you for sharing. Yeah, that was great.
All right. Do we have any other questions before we transition? If not, I really appreciate everyone that joined the call live. And for those that are watching on YouTube, appreciate you coming in. Hopefully that this session will give you a lot of knowledge and maybe answer some of the questions that you had in regards to, being a first-gen student or, attending OSU Newark and maybe transition into the Columbus campus. So again, I want to just thank Dr. Kirsten Fox. I want to thank our phenomenal coaches and our program manager, Anthony Murphy. And I guess at the end, I would like to just really thank our guest for coming through. And just, again, I get excited about these sessions because I wish I would have had this. I was a collegiate athlete, but I wish I would have had institutions coming in and being able to share what they have to offer and being able to just have those options to access. So again, thank you all for joining the call, and we will be back again next Wednesday, 3:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, College Readiness Wednesdays. We're out of here. Thank you.